Hey. So, I wanted to show everyone an interesting couple of things about the flight tracker. Um, so, we've got a search going, and it appears I've been told that aircraft that start with CL or C is Coast Guard. Now, I can't. The other thing that I wanted to show you was that for the most part, see, that's Coast Guard right there, right? So Coast Guard is in the area, and we've got the CL60 who's doing crazy patterning up there, right in the search spot. But now, if you can see, I want to point out that Mayaka pretty much appears to be a no-flight zone at this particular time. I'll show you here on the map in real time here. So you can see that patch of green right there that has no flights going around it right there. That's Mayaka. That's the reserve. What is this here? It appears to be a no-flight zone. Everybody's being directed around it. So interesting. Now, the other thing that I wanted to point out, where's our 60 here? Is that our 60? No, that's not our 60. Did I lose it? I lost it. Where'd NL60 go? There's the coach. There it is right there. So continuing to do the sweeps there. So you're seeing, what's this here? Wheels up. He actually flew right through there. Because for the most part, everyone's being directed around it. Everyone, maybe not as much as they were earlier, but they were really, 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 they were on it. Let me see. I have no idea if we can get Coast Guard. What, bub? That's a pretty stiff. Now, this was a Coast Guard situation here. Let me show you. This appears to be the flight that's doing all of the stuff for JB in them. That appears to be that flight. So you're not seeing this area in Egmont or Fort DeSoto as a no-fly zone. They're flying right over and through it and around it, and it's, look at that. I mean, it's Southwest Airlines. So definitely the search is going on here in Mayaka. So did he go? Looks like he may have took off. Where's our? There he is. Yes, Papa. I see why this thing is so interesting. It's just got all of the high tech stuff going on. There's a lot of tech going on with this. Look at this guy here. He's flying around it. Who is this going to be? Silver Air. Now some of these people may have permission to fly over it for G-Spotter for whatever reason, but one of my teammates, Spivey, she gave me the lowdown on the temporary, the TFR, temporary flight restrictions. Yes, yes, Daddy.
I think this is come on, baby. What? Daddy.
Trisha, ooh.
Daddy.
What, pup?
Baby will sing or read or get dressed.
Really?
I'm trying to get to his bike and his songs and his clothes, but he didn't want to.
Just gonna see if we could find some. No, this isn't gonna be it. Trying to find if we can catch some Coast Guard frequencies here. Star. I don't think we're going to be able to catch any of that. I'll look into that more. This guy's flying right through. What do we got here? Where's he at? Wow.
A strange weapon. A strange.
Well, they're getting close to each other, aren't they? Hey, can I have that, please?
Hey, that's my song.
It's your song, yeah, but it's my nose sucker, so you need to leave it alone there, boyo. I love you.
Chop your arm up.
Don't chop my arm. Don't chop my arm, Hulk.
Wow. Airplanes?
Yeah, we're watching airplanes again.
I watch them too.
You do?
Yeah.
They really got a lot of
Daddy, where's the
activity out here by the islands.
Daddy, where's the
just tacking back and forth.
Daddy?
The helicopter we're watching, no, we're not watching the helicopter right now.
Why?
We are watching Coast Guard right now, Bubba.
Wow, I love Coast Guard.
You love Coast Guard?
Yeah, one.
Oh, that's so cool.
Daddy, that's my time.
Where did our Coast Guard go?
I'm chopping them up.
Hey,
I chopped them all.
There's another Coast Guard there.
Yeah, now I'm gonna have chopped you up. No, I don't have no arms.
Luca Ray. Luca Ray.
I'll try, Daddy.
What?
I want to try to work.
I'm doing a little work right now. Why don't you go get your iPad and work?
No.
You turkey? Hey.
You get your iPad work, and I'll work on my everyone.
Okay. There he is. Crazy pattern going there. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, now, of course, the nature of the search from an airplane is going to be quite different than the search from a helicopter, right? You would have to assume that there is a major corroboration of ground elements with this sort of air tactic going on. So they are really, really covering it. You can see they're going out wide or past the reserve a little there and down towards 72 and then kind of up towards Fort Lonesome and then almost out as far as Moffett and almost as east or west rather as Lakewood Ranch. So quite a pattern. What? What are you doing? Oh, you got your leg stuck?
Yeah.
Okay, well, don't do that. That's silly.
I was holding down.
He's not where I'm telling you. He's not. Yeah, I mean, it's an awful lot.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
They have to do it.
What? There's an awful lot
I'm tied up.
You're all tied up with your own hands. They could be diverting attention. You're absolutely right.
Daddy, help me.
What?
Please.
He's getting better by the minute.
Daddy,
Buddy.
please get me out of the net.
Huh?
Please get me out of the net.
Take you out. You want to see yourself big?
Yeah.
Look. That my Luca.
I'm big.
You're big?
Yeah.
Are you feeling better?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're still sick though. Quit doing that.
That's really.
Quit doing that.
I want you to tie me over my own.
You want me to tie you up with your own arms?
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Tied up.
Huh?
Please, I'm stretched now.
You're stretched. Ready?
Yeah.
Ah.
I can, Daddy.
What?
You be the crocodile. I'll be the dinosaur stretchy guy.
Oh, you'll be the dinosaur stretchy guy.
Yeah.
Okay, hurry up. Ah.
Okay, I'm the ninja cat.
You're a ninja cat?
Yeah.
I don't know how he comes up with these. Whoa. Oh, whoa. All right, go get your work. Yep, he loves his daddy. Go do your work. Go to work. All right, so back to this here. What's interesting is I don't see any, not a lot of helicopters being utilized today anywhere on the flight path, up the coast, even inland. I don't know much about the weather conditions there, but let's see if we can find. Oh yeah, there we go. How about that?
Gone in 100.
Oh, just doing some copyright stuff.
Possible, as much as I absolutely can. On WFLA.com, the WFLA app, the latest on Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. Our article hub lives here. All of our articles here on the story, including the latest pieces of evidence, they're all on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. If you download the WFLA app, you can sign up for push alerts and push notifications for every time we go live on WFLA Now. And our award-winning team of journalists are constantly churning out new content here on the story, and so many more, including our 8 on Your Side investigations that are very eye-opening here on this story and so many others here in the Tampa Bay area and across Florida. So I encourage you to go give a read if you want to hop off here. If you want to read the very latest here, go to WFLA.com and the WFLA app. We'll get the latest on Gabby Petito
Go get it.
and on Brian Laundrie.
You know, one thing I find interesting is I don't know why they keep showing. You know, I'm guessing that it almost seems like they're corroborating with Dog the Bounty Hunter. When I would say clearly, this is showing you that the Coast Guard is flying. Yes, Papa. Oh no. Luca. Stand right there. Give me a minute, guys. This kid. Are you walking wet, sticky feet? Stop. Get on the rug. Oh. Sit down. Come here. Is that juice? Or did you pee-pee? You pee-peed in your pants? Oh, man.
I'm just like that.
Oh, dude.
I'm just like Max.
Put your leg up.
I'm just like Max.
Yeah, you're just like Max.
Well, I don't want to be like Max.
I know you didn't want to be like Max, but now look at you. Pee-pee all down your leg. You're just like Max.
Yeah, and now I'm a baby now.
Yeah, here. Back to a baby.
Why? I'm not a baby. I'm a big boy.
Let me clean up the pee real quick.
Thinking, strangers.
Quit it.
I'm going to
This
I
kid.
kept some trash.
All right.
Some sticky trash.
You quit. Don't you throw that at me.
Here's some sticky trash.
You're away.
Sticky trash. Sticky trash. Sticky trash. Ow. Sticky trash. Sticky trash. Sticky trash.
Sorry, guys. He didn't pee his pants. He just spilled juice all down his pants. Sorry. So anyone that's just joined, what we're looking at right here is Coast Guard flight path of the Mayaka Reserve area and north. If you can see, the Mayaka is down in here. So they have shifted. They really have seen. Yeah. Right. This is the state park right here. So they are north and east of the park a little. I don't know if that suggests that they believe he's moved or if they're covering that as well. Let's see.
No! Champion!
Would you please stop throwing that, sir? I've asked you 4 times now. Here, don't make me take him away.
Sticky trash!
So yeah, guys, they have moved north and east
Sticky trash!
of the original search area. So call that what you want.
Take that, you monster!
Let's check out dog. Luca, please, sir.
Daddy.
Now to some of the other top stories we are following. A new timeline has emerged as the search continues for Brian Laundrie. The attorney for Laundrie's family has confirmed they went camping at the Fort DeSoto Park in Florida for 2 days in the beginning of September, but say all 3 family members left the park together. Dwayne, dog bounty hunter Chapman, meanwhile, says he believes Laundrie is camping out on an island without elaborating on the location.
Now I have to make laundry, Dad. Do I?
Yes, you do, sir.
I don't want to make
New details
laundry.
this morning on the search for Brian Laundrie in Southwest Florida. The FBI is now in possession of an AT&T phone that Laundrie purchased earlier this month. Our Ileana Diaz is outside the Laundrie family home in Northport, Florida. Ileana, tell us about all of this. How does it fit into the timeline?
Whoa.
Good morning, Adrian. The Laundrie attorney tells us that Brian bought this burner phone at AT&T on September 4th, and that 10 days later, he left this phone at home when he went for a
He is just tripping out.
and then he never returned. And at this point, there are still so many unanswered questions.
Now to some of the other top stories we are.
You crazy kid. I thought this was strange, but we'll look at it. I'm like, come on now. I get it. That's how evidence works, but doesn't necessarily. Well, I put that down. Underwear, left foot, right foot. Yeah. Interesting. 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 And he looks to be he's going out wider than he has so far, so I wonder if he's hooking out. Yeah, he's out of there. So Coast Guard's leaving. And they're going to fly back up to, I think that's Tampa, right? Yeah, that's Tampa. So they put in a good little search pattern. Look at there. You know, you can only sit back and wait. We don't know what, we don't know what is, what's to come from that, right? So can't really see that they focused on any area. That's the thing about the airplane. They can't stay in one spot. You know, they've got to, in order to get back to a spot, they've got to move away from it. So, whereas the helicopter can just hover right above. So what do we have here? General Hospital. That's the Aeromed. Yes, baby.
I got some pizza literally.
What?
I got some big pizza literally, Dad.
You got some big pizza, literally.
Yeah, it's coming all the way. Okay.
So there's the Coast Guard deal.
Here, Daddy. Daddy, here's
This
the
will be
pizza.
interesting. It's not taking the same direction in as he came out, but I'm wondering if he's.
Stop it. You're hurting my leg.
Keep an eye on him. He's headed back in. That's the plane or the aircraft handling business for JD or JB and them. So I'm guessing he's headed back in to refuel.
I'm coming.
And I don't think he's going to make the turn to go down by Egmont. So what do we got here? American Flyers.
I'm sorry.
What the heck are you doing?
I got some pizza literally package.
You literally have a huge pizza package.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to go get another pizza package.
Curious. That's just a little charter, but yeah, I'd say that he'd have to come back south in order to hit Fort DeSoto. So he's headed somewhere else now at this point. But there again, to track his flight around Mayaka, there it is. So now here's Venice, and we know that yesterday the search was in this area right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. What, Papa?
This way I did it because of a big box of big pizzas inside.
Ah, I love big pizza boxes.
Daddy,
Yeah.
you have one, Dad.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of where can he go? Well, quite naturally, pretty much the only thing he can do is go north. I mean, look at that. That is a substantial search. Unfortunately, on this app, what's that, sir? Do not open that. No. That's a desk. Don't open it. No. Sir, look at me in the eye, sir.
It's gonna be mine.
No, it's not. It's the wrong house delivery. I have to take it somewhere. That is a pretty big search. I mean, look at that search from really zoomed way out. Like, that's a substantial search. Meanwhile, you can kind of see this area is kind of a no-flight zone. I mean, even in terms of this is the Tampa General. Get off of there now, please. That's the Tampa General plane, or I'm sorry, helicopter. And yeah, he's going to come on. He's going to land in Tampa. So everyone is just diverting from this area. I would say that there's something extensive going on the ground there. It's moved north and east a little. So that's that, guys. It's a really interesting thing about SOS, Feds at Laundries. Let's see what we can get. What, Papa? Thank you. You're still hungry? Well, you've eaten everything in the house. Come here. You have donuts, fruit in your want to see if I can hear any let's see. They don't have anybody listening to that yet.
In the time before
Don't.
Did you make a mess? No. Okay.
Don't miss huge savings this Friday at Ashley Home Store's Midnight Madness.
All right, so let me go back to the chat here. Where are we getting feds? Do the five. Check Brian and Twitter. He is live on there now. I don't have a Twitter, but leave that on there, actually. I'd like for you to leave that on there.
Why?
Because BRIANENTIN Twitter. FBI at the house.
I got off, Daddy.
2 minutes ago. FBI. What do we got here? Do I got to click something to get the oh, there it goes.
It's like a brown paper bag. It looked like it had something in it. So basically, what we know is the FBI came in as Black Tahoe, 2 agents, one with a paper bag. They both went into the house.
Okay, that's interesting, guys. Very interesting. Sorry. So we're live with Mr. N10. Thank you for that, ladies. Thank you for that. Let's see. Forgive me for just a minute real quick, guys. I got to do this. Oop, wrong one. I'm going to just let this run and then go deal with Shorty Doo-Wop here real quick and get him straightened around. Let's see. Lives. Somebody's already struck this video. Idiots. So you get to see what the manual review looks like. Request review. And we are back live. All right. Come on, Bubba. Let's get you straightened around here.
Why? Oh, you can open it?
FLA, you mean? Yeah, and Luis is up there, so you guys will have like 3 angles if anything happens. Yeah. Yeah. Do what?
Okay. I'll be right back. Come on, little bitty boy.
Where are we going, Dad?
We are going to go outside for a minute. So we can check the garden, and so I can smoke a cigarette, and you can run around.
So just recapping again, the FBI showed up here in this black Tahoe. 2 agents went in. One of the agents with a brown paper bag that looked like it was full of stuff. We've got. I mean, I'm just standing here with the live stream, but we've got 3 angles. Luis is on one side. Our other photographer, Kenny, is in the front, and then there's another photographer on the other side. So.
I'm laughing at your guitar. Come on, go. We'll be back, guys. Here about 4 or 5 minutes. Hold on. Let me drop this link real quick.
I'm tracking down the floor.
No talk.
It's kind of windy out here. That might be what you guys are
Don't
hearing.
you hit me with that guitar, boy. Luca. I'm not going to ask you again. Thank you.
I can hear it. Hey, Dad.
Hey, get shoot. I want you to get your shoes. Fine. You do that. I'll be out of the chat for just a minute, guys. So he's showing, yes, he is showing off for his fans. And hitting me with the guitar is a regular thing. All you got to do is just go. I'm going to go ahead and just reload that, guys, for when we're ready to go back to that. Give me just a few minutes and I'll be back. Papa. Of course, I'm assuming it's not an apprehension. They wouldn't come just 2 agents in the Tahoe. They'd come in force if they were gonna take somebody. But
It's not like the thing to keep my phone charged. What is that? No, you don't have one with you though. No, I have a way to do it. I'm gonna do it. I was just curious. Yeah, but I have a little cord and I can plug it in. You can plug it into the battery. Yeah.
Hey, I sure wish you wouldn't do that. Because you could get hurt doing that. You'll stub your toe. Come on. What are you doing? No. Don't turn the hose on. No, sir.
So my phone's not dying, but this live stream takes a lot of energy, so I'm gonna have to figure something out here in a second. But I have a plan. I just need to get my charger out of the car, and then I can plug it into Luis's battery, and I can stay charged. But I don't want to leave right this second. Although we're literally shooting this from 3 different angles, so this is just for you guys on the live stream. But for News Nation, we're gonna have like literally 3 angles, whatever happens.
You're going to get hurt. It's going to break. No more jelly beans, Lukey.
This one, man. Daddy, this one.
No, not just one.
Bro. I need to cut some wood.
What do you want for lunch?
That's a good idea. You guys are so smart. Give my phone just a little hold while I go get the cord.
You have pizza for dinner.
Look at that. Let me see if I can get Allison to do it for me. Good idea. Allison, can I ask you a favor? I'm afraid my phone's gonna die, but I'm live streaming. Will you hold it for a minute in case something happens? I'm gonna go run the block. I have it in the car.
Okay, yep. All right.
I see that. Dang on kids. No, Okay.
Thank you.
Come on, inside.
Okay, I'm plugged in now.
Just drove his 4-wheeler into my car and scratched the heck out of it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, the door's open. Here we go.
They just dropped a few bags off.
They're going around the side of the house, it looks like.
Finally going in.
They're going in the camper.
Finally.
They're going in the camper. Can you tell us what you're looking for in the camper?
Ooh, they're in the camper. They're in the camper.
What?
In the camper.
I see. What?
You don't even know what's going on, Lee.
What are they doing?
They are in the camper.
Are they camping?
No, they're not going camping. They came back from camping, actually. And a girl went missing. Oh.
He jumped out there.
Was there anything significant in the camper?
Nope.
Nope. Boss man told you, nothing significant in the
Just one
camper.
Camper is second man.
Camper's clean?
Captain pieces. Breaking in pieces.
Do you want some lunch? What would you like for lunch?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Okay, so they just went in the camper and got
Don't
something.
pull my neck, please.
I want a big.
Me too. I thought they already searched that too, Will.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
Now they're back in the house.
Wow. Wow.
The lawyer's not here.
No, let's go eat lunch. Come
You,
on. No more fighting.
How's the connection now? You guys know it's bad, but is it decent?
What do you want for lunch?
I mean, everyone and you guys have all been asking about this camper. How they went back in the camper.
No, it's not a toy. No, it is not a toy. It's for your nose. Kitchen's closed. Out of here. Kitchen's closed.
They have gone in the camper once before when they did the search warrant,
Out of there. My kitchen's closed.
but now they went back in.
Your kitchen is closed today?
My kitchen is closed today. Your lunch is on the table right
Daddy, I can do it.
there. Okay, well, you do it then. Here, eat that. You got plenty of stuff to pick from there. Luca's sleepy, yes. We are. Oh, he got up in the middle of the night again last night. He slept with mom, though.
Daddy,
We're
look.
getting all the video, so
Pop it
I'll
out.
tweet everything and we'll have it all in News Nation too, so don't worry.
Thank you. Hey, use our inside voices now, okay? I'm so sorry. I should probably just turn this off. It's.
FBI's
Cat.
back inside.
Hold on, guys. Luca Ray, if you don't stop that, you're gonna get a pow pow.
Bats, I didn't see it. Honestly,
You're gonna get a,
it happened so fast. We'll go look at the video.
that's enough screen. Look at that.
Yeah, I took the case off, so hoping won't overheat.
I know you're sleepy. Let's put you in bed. You're not gonna sleep too. Thank you, Lady CG. I'm sorry. What, Papa? Yeah, rock and roll.
I'm just gonna kind of recap everybody. The black top right over here.
Eat your lunch, please.
One of them.
Eat your lunch, because then I got a special surprise for you. I got a fluffy pillow and a warm blanket.
Maybe like 10 minutes. Then they came out and went into the camper. And now they're back in the house.
Yep, that's my boy, KK. What, Papa? Okay, please be so quiet, because there's something very special.
Yeah, I took the case off my phone. It's like really hot out here though, and sunny. So
outfit? Is it outfit?
FLA on YouTube.
Is it outfit?
I'm not an
You're still
elephant.
here. It's on the other side of the FBI SUV.
FLA. Look up, please stop.
Ah,
That's enough.
how is it?
WFLA. Just give that. Don't go too hard. Don't pull it too hard. Okay, thanks.
Scratchy?
Offering DNA evidence, potential DNA evidence. That's what, the most recent FBI visit to the home here was to collect DNA evidence, as we understand it.
Or
And
maybe they found something.
and Stephen Bertolino, the attorney, offered that DNA.
Yahoo!
The Laundrie parents offered that DNA.
Yahoo!
Perhaps that we don't know whether or not there's something significant going on here, or this could be very procedural. But we're here live with you to watch what happens here when the FBI exits the home. In particular, we'll be watching here very closely as to whether or not they're going to continue to pay attention to the camper here one more time, and if they're actually going to be leaving here with any belongings from the home here, again, in Northport, Florida.
Interesting to see the flowers out there. I know we've touched on that a few times, but some of the flower deliveries have picked up and just kind of stacked outside of the doorway there. So that is an interesting a view of that front door and how those deliveries have played out over the last few days.
So we're here live, everybody, on WFLA Now. One thing that our commenters, and we'll look for hashtag Hey Josh as we're rating here. We can look for hashtag Hey Josh, hashtag Hey JB in the Facebook Live comment section, YouTube Live comment section. Hello there to Twitter as well. We can, of course, feature your comments and questions here. And there's a lot of retired law enforcement here that have been joining us on our streams and providing us with some insight as to what they think is happening. We'll look for those hashtag Hey JB, hashtag Hey Josh comments and questions here. But this is live here, everybody in the center of your screen. I am hearing an echo. Are you hearing the echo? It's not? Okay.
Is it this register here?
It could be. Okay, here comes the FBI.
Oh, they got a cooler bag there. Yeah. Looks like a cooler bag. They got what they needed. Looks like they're getting out of here.
What's this in it?
All right, we're watching the FBI. They just exited the laundry house with a cooler bag, and they jumped in their SUV, this Tahoe. Now they're going to be leaving the property. Obviously, the media surrounding the vehicle, so it's a little difficult to back out.
So put your bag in there. You haven't found that piece card. You haven't seen that piece card.
We're looking hard for
You haven't seen.
So that looks to be it.
Just like that, the FBI on their way.
Got what they needed. They're on their way.
So let's explain now how this works here, everybody. People are going to want to know, what was the reason for this visit? Why did the FBI show up? And really the FBI is not going to tell us. What the only real avenue that we have to learning information about why the FBI was here today is through the only person that has been providing us with information pertaining to the laundries, and that is the attorney, Stephen Bertolino. So now I would imagine Stephen Bertolino's phone is ringing off the hook, getting endless messages here. But Justin Rogers, our photographer here, zooming in here on that camper, a camper that they did pay attention to during this visit here, Josh.
I think that's the first time since we've been out there that they've looked at that camper. Outside of the first few days of this investigation, the last week or so, I don't think they've paid much attention to the camper at all. So that's an interesting development. And the fact that they took a second look at it or peeked in there or whatever. We couldn't see from our vantage point exactly what they were doing in there, or if they were just looking at the back door of the camper.
And if you're just joining us, I'm trying to multitask here as best as I can to provide
Me too, JB.
That video. I do have that video of them examining the camper here. And as soon as it loads up into my system, and it is loading up into my system right now, let's play this back here for you live, everybody, on WFLA Now. That's live. That's the Ford Mustang there. And now let's show you the video from a short time ago, right as we began this live stream. The FBI came out here, and Justin was like, okay, where'd they go? We thought they were going to reemerge on the other side of the camper, the other side of the Ford pickup, or excuse me, Dodge pickup truck here. And looking there, okay, where did the FBI, where'd they go? Did they disappear? And then he moves over, and there they are, taking a very close look there at the rear of the camper.
I just see one agent. The other agent get in there, or is they just standing off camera?
That's an excellent question. And and we need to find out here from
another
They're
angle of the
inside,
video, I'm
guys.
sure.
We just
from
saw
our
it.
crews here in the field if the other FBI agent went into the camper to perhaps potentially retrieve
You did
something.
see him go in the
Or look
camper,
through it.
didn't you, JB?
They opened the door.
He jumped out. That's a woman.
They entered the camper for a minute
I don't see the bag.
from a source on the other side.
Okay, so yeah, that would make sense because the one FBI
I
agent
just
was
saw one pair of legs. So yeah, they went in there to look at something, but it was quick. So
He jumped out.
So if you're just joining us here, folks, the FBI
Thank you
arriving
so
here
much, Jody.
Suddenly.
Thank you,
And
lovely.
of course, the media that has been camped here for the last several weeks, alerting us to it here. Of course, immediately we've had WFLA's Allison Henning reporting on this online and arriving here for an unknown reason, walking into the brown paper bag, coming back out of the home. Then one agent going into the camper, according to what Josh is reading here, and then going back into the home, spending several minutes in there, and then leaving. So now it all comes down to what Stephen Bertolino says as far as whether or not this was something that was executed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as far as a search warrant, or whether or not they were obtaining some form of evidence, or we don't know, or whether or not this was in the laundry is cooperating with the ongoing federal investigation. That let's remind people is still a missing persons case, and yes, he is the sole person of interest in this investigation, not a suspect in the or really connected in any way at this time, based on what's available publicly. He's not connected to Gabby Petito's homicide, but this is what we know from the FBI is that he's just a missing person, and he's a sole person of interest in Gabby Petito's homicide when she was, of course, found dead in Northwest Wyoming.
And every time the FBI shows up at the house, obviously there's a reason. I believe last time they were looking for a DNA sample, and we got that from the attorney. So that was something much smaller. It wasn't a big bag of anything they brought in. It was something small. They came, they left, and that was it. So yeah, as you mentioned, JB, I think his phone is going to be blowing up just trying to get any indication. A lot of people are speculating that it's probably be a DNA sample, but to go into the camper is interesting just to see what they either took or what they needed from the camper. So we won't know until we hear from the attorney at this point. The FBI will not tell us what they're looking for, obviously.
And I'm working on getting the video again here. We want to be able to play back the highlights here for you folks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bring this video into my system now. Welcome to 2021 Multitasking in News. I'm trying to bring in this video into our system here to show you what they've walked out with here.
Do you have any questions while you're doing that? If you want to pop those up, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's see if we can bring up some of the questions and comments here in the Facebook Live comment section.
Because outside of this, there hasn't been a whole lot happening today. This is kind of the first development in the case today for everybody who's watching, kind of minute-to-minute action that's happening.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. It's a whole lot here, Josh. I'm going to bring you up here solo.
More hands.
I do. I have 7 screens, so 7 hands would be very, very
6
helpful.
more tentacles.
Yeah. Josh, I'll let you kind of fly solo
Sure,
here for
go ahead.
just a minute while I bring up this video.
I'm just sitting here. I wish I could help.
Let's see. Okay, so it is coming now into our system. And what we'll do is here, everybody. I'm going to bring it up here on screen. This is, again, now the video of what they walked out with. We're going to kind of go back in time as far as, our coverage here. So this is going to be here. All right, let's see if we can hit this button and that button.
Fast
and,
work, JB.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is live. This is the moment when we were live. Okay, so there we are. This is very strange because we're seeing ourselves here. And there's that cooler bag, as you called it, Josh.
He seems to be the agent that always shows up, too.
Yes.
Starting to notice.
I agree.
I don't know his name right offhand, but he seems to be the guy that's always making the stops.
Let's pause it right when. Okay, so here they are coming out. This is you and I, a freeze frame, and not a great one. Let's give it. Okay, there we go. A little bit of a slightly
out the window.
Slightly better one. Okay. So there we see in the center of your screen, this is, again, the time machine that is WFLA now. We're going back now in time and showing you there the 2 agents now walking out of the home here. And we'll kind of go frame by frame here, everybody. So, okay, so coming out of the home here, you can see the 2 agents here, a man and a woman, and see them carrying that bag.
Play with by JB. What's on top of there?
There you see, I'm not entirely sure. Of course, not going to speak to any members of the media, not going to even address them. Just get right back in the vehicle there and take off.
Yep. Short and sweet.
But one more time here, everybody. Let's show you what they walked out with. And it's possible that this isn't the only item or container that they're leaving with, but there it was there again. And I'll freeze frame it one more time. Back in time here in the WFLA Now Time Machine.
All right, here we got an update from
Okay.
the laundry lawyer. According to Brian Enton, the FBI at the laundry home today to collect some personal items belonging to Brian that will assist the canines in the search for Brian. There is nothing more to this. So there you have it. They may have gone into the camper to grab something. They grabbed something possibly from the house. They put it in the cooler bag, and they are most likely going to take that out to the reserve and assist with the canines. This is all according to the attorney. And obviously, as you know how canines work, some are just human scent tracking dogs. Some specifically trained to use a scent to track. In this case, they have different kinds. They have German Shepherds, they have Bloodhounds, they have different kinds of dog tracking dogs. So what would happen is, in this case, they would go out to the canine handler. They would give them a piece of Brian's clothing or something that he had used in the past that has his scent on it. And they would have a little bag, and they would stick that in the nose of the dog, and the dog would trigger that scent. And then after that scent gets in the dog's nose, the dog tears off and starts to try to identify that scent anywhere around the dog's search. So that sounds like this is obviously what it is.
What we don't know, and Brian Enton, right on it, as you would imagine. What we don't know is what was collected here as far as being able to assist in the search for Brian Laundrie, as far as picking up on his scent. Do we know, and I don't think Brian said it in the tweet, do we know if Stephen Bernardino said it came from the camper or inside of the house?
We don't. But, I think the bigger question is...
Just a note here, real quickly, Josh, they just locked, you just heard that, they locked the pickup truck there. I would imagine that was from inside the home there. So the beeping you heard, was
Shh, God, they just locked the truck.
them locking the vehicle.
I think the bigger question is, though, obviously they had his scent earlier. Why would they need a new fresh scent? And I don't know this. A canine handler can tell you that. Do you need to replenish a scent for the dogs as they continue searches over days at a time? Obviously there's a piece of clothing loot.
When do you start looking at some of these things as not stuff for a dog handler, but stuff for forensic specialists to get a sample from?
Is its effectiveness based on the scent, and then they have to go back and continue to get new scents? Or is it that they need something more specific related to the scent? Maybe, I don't know specifically, but maybe they found some evidence out there and they're trying to figure out, all right, is it related to clothing? Is it related to personal effect? That would be a question too. I wonder why they're needing new material for these scents for the dogs. That's an interesting question.
All right. Well, folks, you know what we do here in WFLA Now? We feature you wherever you're watching from, whatever platform you're watching from. You might be watching on YouTube, you might be watching on Facebook, wherever you're watching from in the social media comment section. Perhaps you have access to Twitter. You can use hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh here. We're going to keep the train on the tracks here as far as what we know with this new development, but want to make it clear here, folks, that we want to feature some of what you have to say here in the social media comment section. So, Josh, why don't we get right into it here and take some questions with
You got it.
with hashtag HeyJB and hashtag HeyJosh. And I'll just bring this one up right away, because this one, and we got to hit a couple buttons here to activate our interactivity here. Okay, Tiffany Clarkson, hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh. Maybe they're taking the scent to where Dog the Bounty Hunter is. Well, are they where he is, or to? Well, they're not. The FBI isn't going to bring a scent to Dog the Bounty Hunter.
And I'm in touch with Dog's team, and Dog is on a different search today, and they're not anywhere near the FBI. So as yesterday, there was two completely different searches, one with the FBI and one with Dog's team. They're not going to be working together. I can tell you that.
Some other comments coming in here,
No,
but
that's a
they
good
are
question.
for DeSoto.
A question was asked yesterday: Did Dog's team have a scent of Brian's to use with the dogs that they have? Because they do have a canine team with them, and I checked on that, and the answer is no. They were using just general human scent search dogs.
We need a canine expert to answer a
Yes,
question
I was
like
just
this
thinking
one
of that.
here from Beth Brostrom. Hashtag HAB. I like the cat in Beth's photo here. Hashtag HAB. Why would they assume the house would have a fresher scent if he hasn't been there? Well,
Why is Beth assuming that they're assuming anything?
again, this is a better question for a canine expert, but your scent lingers on your clothing, and it can linger for some time. And if it's especially if we're talking about something that is, in your dresser, right? I mean, something that is contained. And again, I would need a canine expert, but I would imagine that the dogs have super incredible, powerful scent capabilities. So you would imagine that it would just take something that has enough of a scent for them to pick up on Brian Laundrie's whereabouts, if he is in fact out there at the Carlton Reserve.
Yeah, it would be good to get some perspective from a canine handler. The team that Dog used yesterday was the Peace River Canine Search and Rescue. So that's a local group that has dogs and obviously a team that can help run missions like this. This is a Southwest Florida-based nonprofit, and they had a few dogs out there. But in this case, obviously, yeah, we just heard from the attorney that they went to the laundry house to get a sample to take to the dogs for a scent, I believe.
Let's take this question here. Thanks a lot, Beth, for yours. Aaron Butler, #HeyJB. We're not going to be able to do this for too long. We'll probably go to the top of the hour here, 2 o'clock. #HeyJB. Could it be that the new evidence was his and that they're really close and wanting fresh scents for the dogs? This is, again, we don't know. We just don't. We're delving into the realm of unknown, and we just don't know. But there's so much that's possible here. But this is now a couple of times where the FBI has arrived here to collect items, and the FBI has left with those items based on what we know. So from Stephen Bertolino. So first it was to collect DNA evidence, now to collect evidence for a scent to help the canines in their search for, again, missing person and sole person of interest in the Gabby Petito case, Brian Laundrie.
And let's talk about the search itself, because remember, it was really heavy out there at the Carlton Reserve for days on end, and then it took about a 2-day break, and they're back there. So clearly the FBI has a good indication he's either there or was there or continuing to stick out there and search. So that's important to the case, obviously. There's been a lot of sidetracking and a lot of different theories and things going on and everything else, but the fact that they keep going back to that reserve is interesting. They must have something really solid out there to keep them out there.
I'd like to address this one because this one's been coming in on my WFLA JB accounts across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and it's multiple times, and I've been promising I would get to this. Jill Ryder, #HeyJB, #HeyJosh. Any truth to the story that Brian flew home to clean out Gabby's storage unit? This is unconfirmed. This is one of those pieces of Twitter information that lives within the realm of unknown, but this is not confirmed as we understand it at this time. So there's been a lot of talk out there about a flight and whether or not Brian flew home, and that's just something that we cannot. I know that it's out there. It's just something that we cannot confirm at this time, but there's been a lot online here talking about that exact question. Let's take this one here from Heather Roach. #HeyJB, #HeyJosh. Is this unusual for the FBI missing persons cases to return multiple times for scents? And we don't know that it's been multiple times for scents. As a reminder, the original visit that we were just referencing, and Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, that was to collect DNA evidence. This is now to collect scents for the dog specifically. According to this is all through one lens here, and that lens being Stephen Bertolino, the Brian Laundrie attorney.
Correct. They say he came out to get a personal effects, essentially, of Brian's to assist with the canines in the search. Now, I have heard from a person here who does search and rescue of lost pets. Fresh scent with search dogs. Fresh scent is important because when other people have handled the item, cross-contamination can occur. So this is someone who handles, is a dog handler and knows firsthand about how this can affect a search over time. Because keep in mind, this has been ongoing for weeks now. So if they initially got some material of Brian's and they brought it out there and used that for the dogs initially, I think that expires after a certain amount of time. That, or they came across some element of the search or came across something that may have been evidence that they need just further confirmation that was related to him. So they would come back to the house, get a new scent or get something more specific, maybe inside that camper, so to speak, bring it out there, now give it to the dogs, and then that dog will hopefully hit on something out there to tell them that they're right.
It's really interesting, intriguing insight, because I can just, if it's a piece of clothing, for example, I know my brother and I would fight over sweaters a lot as kids, right? You know, we would, there was like one sweater that just fit just right.
You guys fought over sweaters?
Oh,
We fought over like He-Man figures.
Oh man, well, hey, listen, when you grow up and you want to look good and
yes, you're probably more
fight,
stylish than we were.
Listen, I grew up in New York, and but you're from Minnesota. You didn't fight over like winter clothes.
We weren't a fashion statement up there.
No, but what if there's
that was a bigger deal.
Yeah, but what if there's that one winter jacket that's just perfect?
Oh, I had a few that were just beauty.
And your family didn't want to steal them from you?
My oldest brother was 5 years older, so it was never a conflict. But my other brother, that was where the battle happened.
Well, my brother and I would fight over
that's funny.
Great articles of clothing. But yes, but that in that scenario there, it could smell like one person and smell like another, or it could smell like a mix of the two, and that could throw off the canines based on what you were just reading.
Let me give you the statement just so we're clear on what the lawyer said. The FBI is at the laundry home today to collect some personal items belonging to Brian that will assist the canines in their search for Brian. There's nothing more to this. So that's it. I think we got it.
Okay,
we covered it.
And last one here. It's the last question we're going to take. It's from Lindsay here. #AJB, #AJosh. Random question. Will the FBI be updating the laundry parents regarding their son, or do they keep quiet and tell them nothing? This is a really good.
That's actually a very good question.
It's an excellent question because he is a missing persons case.
Right.
So, and based on all indications that we have received from law enforcement, what we're being told is that they are cooperating with
it's a criminal case. It's an
FBI-led criminal investigation,
right.
But it's still
but I think that's
still missing.
Correct. But I think that it's a good question that what do they tell the parents in the criminality side of it? No, following that case, how much information can they divulge since it's an open criminal investigation, even if it is his parents?
And this is where protocol comes into play, right? Because we have Gabby Petito who is deceased of homicide, and there's a homicide investigation that is underway. The FBI, there's an FBI-led criminal investigation. Brian Laundrie is wanted on a single charge of use of unauthorized access devices, which basically translates to credit card fraud connected to the Capital One debit card. Mm-hmm. And then he's also the original subject in a missing persons case. So you have all of this in this pot here, and it's just hard to truly decipher what kind of communication there would be between Brian Laundrie's parents and what kind of communication there would be from the FBI to Brian Laundrie's parents here, and how much information, how many updates that they're receiving on where the search and where the investigation stands at this time.
And I'm still intrigued on the whole canine handler thing, because the canines are so important on a search like this. If you are a canine handler out there or have an organization, shoot me a direct message at WFLA Josh on Twitter. I just want to, for the next time we go to stream, it'd be nice to have some background on why this is so important that they get a fresh new scent, and why they have to continually work with these dogs to keep them going in the right direction. Because
I'd say, guys, that's definitely a searcher doing something there. That's in the park. John and Mabel wrangling.
Obviously, it's about getting those dogs to hit and then confirming for them what they're all looking for.
Josh, before we head out here, this has been a kind of a brief, kind of a breaking development live stream. We're not going to continue on here for that much longer. To our YouTube audience, we'll be here live. We're going to continue playing back a little bit of the Brian Entin coverage that we had earlier, or as far as Brian Entin being on WFLA Now coverage of this story here in a little bit. But Josh, as we look here again live at the right side of your screen, that's the front door of the laundry home here. What are you going to be monitoring here on Twitter and on social media in the hours ahead?
Yeah, it's a quieter day today, obviously. So we know the search continues. We know there's a little bit of activity at the house today, but that's about it. There are going to be days that this case slows down and gets quieter. And like I said before, people want this thing buttoned up in an hour. They want this thing to be like TV, like a TV show. But that's not the case. So this investigation continues, and when we get some new information, some fact-based stuff that we can report, we'll bring it to you on air, and obviously here online. But that seems to be kind of the biggest development in the last few hours, is that the FBI showed up to take this sample to bring to the dogs to see if it can aid in the search for Brian Laundrie out in the Carlton Reserve.
Really the sole notable development of this Thursday, September 30th. Big thanks to Josh Benson. You'll see him tonight on WFLA News Channel 8, first at 4. We're going to have, of course, our 4 o'clock newscast. You'll see Josh and a lot of our newscasts here this evening, everybody on WFLA News Channel 8. And again, I'm JB Buno. We are going to end the stream in a couple of places like Facebook. The stream will continue here on YouTube, where we continue showing you some of the afternoon stream with Brian Enton here. And if there's any breaking developments here, folks, just like this, as I've been promising since this coverage began on WFLA Now, if there's any breaking developments, we can pop back in here really quickly live in places like YouTube, in places like Facebook, to continue our coverage here of the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie story. As a reminder here, folks, on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, all of our articles and the latest on this story, all the developments that are occurring right now as far as the FBI entering the home, leaving with something to assist, according to the attorney, assist with the scent, the canine dogs that are trying to pick up on Brian Laundrie's scent. All of this is on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, our award-winning team here behind the scenes producing all of the articles that you can read in our article hub with the latest on Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. We'll be back here with any breaking developments here, everybody. If anything occurs, we're back here in moments here live on WFLA Now. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd. If you let me just set the stage here for you. If you don't know who Grady Judd is, Grady Judd is somebody who, when he walks up to a podium, when he walks up to a microphone, it's instantaneous, must see for a lot of folks online. Yeah, he has a way with words, a way with articulating how he feels and how his department, how the Polk County Sheriff's Office feels about a particular story. He does not hold back any punches. This is somebody who speaks his mind. And if you've never heard of Grady Judd, believe me, there are endless clips and reels on YouTube that you can find, and it will give you an idea as to who Grady Judd is. And I'm saying that because normally I would never have to say that on WFLA Now, because our audience is very honed in here on the Tampa Bay area, and Grady Judd is just, everybody knows who Grady Judd is. But outside of the Tampa Bay area, outside of Florida, we have an international audience. We've had people joining us from the UK. We have people joining us from Germany, from Norway, from Denmark, from Australia. All over the world have been joining us. You probably don't know who Grady Judd is. But ever since this story began, and ever since Brian Laundrie was declared officially missing, everybody has been asking me to talk to Grady, or asking our WFLA team to talk to Grady to get his 2 cents on what he thinks, because he doesn't hold back on what he thinks about modern day law enforcement and modern day crime. So here is a short time ago, big shout out to Stacy Da Silva from, of course, our team here, WFLA 8 on your side, for helping me out with this. But this is Grady Judd at a press conference here talking about a separate operation that his office had conducted. Okay, but he, in a Q&A portion, of course, he was asked about the Gabby Petito and the Brian Laundrie story.
Gabby Petito, I'm not involved in that investigation. My team's not involved in that investigation. I could only speculate based upon news reports, and as you know, those are incomplete at best, and sometimes they can be fictionalized at worst. I can tell you that according to Florida law, when she was a victim of domestic violence originally, he would have been arrested. I can tell you at this sheriff's office, when he showed up with her car and she was no place to be found, we would never have let him out of our custody that day. Other than that, I'm not sure where their investigation is.
Interesting comments here from Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd, saying that if Brian had come back and had been in his jurisdiction, he never would have let Brian get away. And he highlighted the domestic dispute that occurred between Brian Laundrie and between Gabby Petito. And Grady saying, and listen, there have been endless comments thrown my way on social media with #HAJB saying, hashtag AJB, Grady never would have allowed this to happen. But let's also keep things in perspective here, folks. This has been a complicated case from the beginning. Very complicated. The FBI is on the case, and there is nobody out there that is more pro law enforcement, or as pro law enforcement than, of course, one of the many great sheriffs that we have here across Florida. That one, of course, that you've just heard from is Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd, and we've had a lot of comments just come in the last several seconds about Grady Judd. Hashtag AJB Sheriff Grady Judd is great. Every county needs one of him. I'm from North Carolina, and
there's this renewed search effort out there, sort of a focus on lakes that we noticed yesterday. They had boats there again. For a couple of days. Do they know something new? Is there something new that led them to this specific part of the reserve? We don't know, but there's new activity there, so that's interesting. The second thing that is interesting of the last 24 hours, I would say, is the campground situation. Obviously, Dog the Bounty Hunter has been out there searching. But what really is interesting to me is, Dog the Bounty Hunter sort of brought this whole campground nugget into play, saying he got a tip that the laundries were at the campground. A lot of people were saying, well, maybe the FBI knew about this like a week ago, and just now Dog is finding out about it. But what's really struck me is this confirmation that the FBI didn't get the surveillance video from the campground until Tuesday of this week. So that sort of signals that the FBI wasn't out there snooping around until this week and until after Dog the Bounty Hunter brought this into play. So that's the second interesting nugget of the last 24 hours. I say the third thing is the phone situation. Everything that's come out about the phone, that the Laundrie family attorney, Mr. Bertolino, has sort of confirmed that there was this additional phone purchased after Brian returned to Florida without Gabby. He says the phone is now in the hands of the FBI, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions with the phone.
Brian Enton joining us here, everybody, and let's before we know we already have tons of comments here in the queue using hashtag AJB and hashtag News Nation on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube here. Brian, we know that there's going to be a lot of questions and comments here, and there already are in our comment section about Dog. And I think I saw that you had a conversation with Dog. Was that on your Brian Enton Twitter page this morning? And perhaps can you give us an update and give our viewers an update on where things stand with Dog?
Yeah, I talked to him this morning, and look, I get it. Like, there's a lot of people out there that have been tweeting me, and maybe you've been dealing with the same thing, saying, like, why are you giving Dog publicity? What is going on here? Isn't he a reality TV show star? And I get it, and I hear you, and I'm sure you hear the comments too, but
I do.
Yeah. I think, he's become part of the story, and the reason is this whole campground thing. I mean, he's the one who exposed the campground, and now we learned that the FBI didn't get the video until after Dog put it out there. So, I think, and he is actively searching, so he's hard to ignore. I mean, look, he has to bring new evidence to the table. We're not just going to give him airtime every day, no matter what. But, you can't ignore that he's now part of this.
Yeah, part of this story, as is so many other elements here to this story. Brian, we've been talking about the Ford Mustang. We've been talking about the camper. We've been talking about Chris and Roberta Laundrie, Brian Laundrie's parents here. Karen Stepp, our first hashtag AJB, hashtag News Nation comment, and saying here, Dog is the reason they got the surveillance. It's obvious. And a lot of viewers, again, feel this way. This is the opinion of one of our commenters here, but this is that there are a lot of people that are following Dog because they believe that Dog is helping us learn more about this case and perhaps learning more. We don't know what the FBI knows, and Brian and I both understand, of course, how the FBI deals with investigations of really any magnitude, not just this magnitude, but any magnitude. They're not going to give out information that's going to compromise an ongoing federal investigation. But it is of note that they just now recently received that video from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. Fort DeSoto, the campground, turning over the video, the surveillance video of the laundries there at the Fort DeSoto campground, turning it over to the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, who then got that to the FBI, and I believe that was Tuesday of this week. Correct, Brian? I mean, that was just 2 days ago, and that's 3 weeks really into this story.
Yeah, 2 days ago was on Tuesday, and it's interesting. I mean, you get it, JB. When you're working these stories, sometimes you find out things that you're not necessarily supposed to know by requesting things and getting denied. And that's sort of what happened with the surveillance video. We're trying to get the surveillance video. We email Pinellas County because Pinellas County controls the campground. It's a county park out there. And they reply, we can't give you the surveillance video because it's now under investigation. So now it's like, okay, wow, the campground is part of the investigation. Whereas just the day before, law enforcement is telling us, no, we don't know anything about the campground. We're not out there searching. The campground basically means nothing right now. So it's interesting.
Interesting indeed. And of course, if you've been on the Gabby Petito Reddit, a lot of people talking about that. And a big shout out to all our platforms here. But I was tweeting out earlier, there's some great folks on the Gabby Petito subreddit there that are trying to do some amazing work. The moderators there doing amazing work as far as collaborating resources there and just trying to have a productive conversation there and carry the conversation forward as far as the Justice for Gabby cause that is remaining quite persistent online, as you would expect with as many people that have been following this story. Let's get to this question here. Hashtag HJB from Kenzie Raider. Hashtag HJB. Do we know where the parents went this morning? And really, Brian, Chris and Roberta's whereabouts now, especially after that trip to Orlando for legal aid or legal advice when they went there, they made that trip. Their whereabouts now are being talked about online. I mean, if they leave their house now, people are instantly talking about it across social media.
Yeah, and we're outside the house most of the time, so we kind of watch when they come and go. They did leave this morning. I posted some video on Twitter. They left this morning and they were gone for a couple of hours, but they're now back now. They just got back about a half an hour ago. We don't follow them. I mean, look, we have to draw the line somewhere. But they are back at the house now.
This is a great one here. It just came in a moment ago, and we've got a lot more here in the queue for across all platforms. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Use hashtag HeyJB, hashtag NewsNation if you'd like for us to animate your comment on screen. And I want to make this very clear for our audience here. We don't want to feature a comment from a commenter that doesn't want to be featured in this way with their name and their profile picture. So use the hashtag if you'd like for us to pluck your comment out of the comment section here across all of our platforms. And if you just want to comment back and forth with your fellow commenters and us not feature you here on screen, don't use a hashtag and we'll let your comment go on by here. But Cindy Runberger, hashtag HJB, is there any footage or pictures of Brian after he returned? Has anyone actually seen him? And I'll take this first, and Brian, you can correct me if there's any gaps here with my assessment of this. Of course, there was the license plate that got tagged, the van that returned home from the cross-country road trip, that was tagged on September 1st. And then the Guthries, the neighbors there on the street, saying that they did see Brian there returning home in that first week, that opening week of September, and then saying, of course, that they went on that camping ground, that camp trip. And there's been, of course, a lot of focus on that interview, but let's not forget, folks, that is an interview that came from two neighbors in the block, not police, not law enforcement. So that's the only other sighting that we really have that is confirmed. You have to remember, Northport Police Chief Todd Garrison, said that they knew where Brian was, but we then, of course, found out afterwards that it wasn't, in fact, that they had eyes on him at the time. So and Brian, you can again correct me if I'm wrong here, but at the same time, this is why the Fort DeSoto surveillance video is of such intrigue, because Stephen Bertolino, the attorney for Brian Laundrie, says that the entire family went on the 6th and left on the 7th, and that they all went and they all left the campground there for that camping trip on the 6th and the 7th. And that surveillance video, which is now in the hands of the FBI and will likely never see the light of day, could show whether or not Brian Laundrie was in fact with the family on the 6th and on the 7th here in Florida.
Yeah, I think that'll be huge, especially if they have video of him leaving the campground.
Right.
Because, that will show that he did go camping, but he left. And I mean, if and again, you said it over and over. I mean, there's so much we don't know. The FBI doesn't give us information in a case like this, but, perhaps the FBI knows that he did go camping and then was back at the house. And so then I think the camping nugget sort of just becomes part of the timeline, but that might not be the last place that he was.
Let's get to the phone. Let's talk about the phone, Brian, if we can, and a lot of questions coming in. I'm just going to take them in conjunction here. Tina Palota, #HJB. Brian got a new phone on the 4th. Yes, we were able to confirm that on newsnationnow.com and WFLA.com. Do we know what happened to his old phone? I'm going to take this one here as well from Alyssa Lambert, #HJB. If he bought a new phone, does anyone know where his old phone is? And then we also got one here, and I believe that this one, yes, it was on YouTube from Alicia George, #HJB. Where is his old phone? So the question is coming through here across all platforms here, Brian, and it's a good one, and it's the right one to ask. Everyone usually has just one phone, right? And so if there was a new phone purchased on September 4th, there was a new phone purchased when he got back from the cross-country road trip with Gabby Petito, then did he have another phone? And is that where could that phone be? We really don't know where that phone could be and what happened to it.
Yeah, and I think with the phone situation, there's a lot we don't know, and we're getting a lot of the information from Mr. Bertolino, the laundry family attorney. And, he'll give us the information that he wants to provide and then not always answer follow-up questions. I think one important note is in the beginning, Mr. Bertolino was saying that Brian Laundrie and the family bought the phone on the 14th, but then came back and said that was actually a mistake, and it was actually the 4th. So there was some confusion about that. And I'm on this text with him. I just want to read some of the text and kind of walk you through what he has said about the phone. Let me find him here. At first, he said, to my knowledge, they did purchase a new phone, and it's the same phone that Brian left home and which the FBI is in possession of. And he was saying that that was on the 14th. Then we were confused, and he followed up. I can confirm that the phone was purchased September 4th, and Brian opened an account with AT&T for that phone, parentheses, not a burner. Brian left that phone at home, and the day he went for a hike in the preserve on September 14th, 2021, and the FBI now has that phone. So we followed up. Do you know, and this goes right to the question here, do you know where Brian's previous phone is? The one he had while traveling out west with Gabby? And Mr. Bertolino just responded, no.
And not no comment. He just responded
Right.
No, as in
Correct.
I don't know where the original phone is. And it's just
Right, and I want to point out too, yesterday with his statement, which I hadn't really seen him do this before, and he's responsive at times with the text, and you never really know what this guy's going to say. And kind of a lot of times the lawyers will text the same statement to everyone, but I noticed with him, like some reporters will get something, and then another reporter will get another little nugget, and you don't know what you're going to get with him. But yesterday he texted, when he said all of this, he started out with, to my knowledge, which I thought was interesting. He didn't just put it out as fact. He said, to my knowledge.
And every word that Stephen Bertolino puts out right now is under the microscope. And it is of note. Brian, I'm going to agree with you completely. Usually attorneys with
Guys, this right here is tracking a Pinellas County Sheriff's Office helicopter around Shell Key. So here we go.
a story like this, or even comms people representing attorneys, what they will do is just copy and paste the same statement to all the reporters that are constantly, blowing up their phone. And we have seen a wide variety of different responses to different questions, which means that Stephen Bertolino really is, working the phones here and responding to these questions from reporters. And there have been different responses to maybe, a similar response, but slightly different to the same question asked by multiple reporters.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I've never really dealt with a situation like this, but I was thinking yesterday, like I was almost looking on Twitter at the responses he was giving other reporters, and then trying to think like, how could I ask him something to sort of play off that and see if I can get the next nugget? Almost like when you watch the White House press briefing, you know how the reporters will do that? They'll sort of help each other. Like I think we're almost in that kind of a situation with Mr. Bertolino.
Yeah, and you just don't know when he's going to respond, what he's going to say, what kind of twist on the answer to the question you're going to be provided with. So it's been an interesting relationship. I think we can say.
I'd say that they are clearly on a track to they're headed towards DeSoto, though.
To say the least, as far as Stephen Bertolino's relationship with the media that continues to prod him with questions. Of course, we're going to prod him with questions, and that's not going to end until we have more about what happened between Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, and especially when Brian Laundrie returned home. And again, when he returned home, pretty much right when he returned home, Stephen Bertolino was involved, and it was involved very early on from his return, from Brian Laundrie's return from Wyoming. Amanda Coulter, #AJB, #HeyNewsNation. No question, but just wanted to thank you guys for the great coverage on this whole case. There's a lot of kind comments here, and we're going to try to continue taking the questions here, but I just want to give a shout out to everybody here with the really kind comments online. Very much appreciated, and we'll try to focus here on as many of the questions here about the story as we can. Let's see here. Olivia Joy, #NewsNation, #HeyJB. When did the FBI request the surveillance footage from the AT&T? Why did FBI not request footage from the campsite until after Dog went public? Why does it seem the FBI didn't follow up on those leads? And this speaks to what Brian was just talking about here. And based on what we've been provided with here at WFLA, and I'm sure it's been confirmed by Brian and News Nation here, Brian, as we understood it, the flow of that video and the flow of how that reached the FBI was Fort DeSoto Campground had it, and you were talking about it being county grounds, and that the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office sent it to the FBI. We don't necessarily know, and again, you and I are just comparing notes here. This is what we do. Two reporters with a lot of notes in our notebooks. We're always jotting down notes here and just comparing notes, but we have no evidence at this time to suggest the FBI requested the surveillance video. Based on what I've seen, the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office just sent that video to the FBI, and we don't know if a request was ever made.
Yeah, let me pull up the email because I have it here. I was looking at it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was looking again this morning. I think it said the FBI received the surveillance video from us yesterday. This was an email from yesterday, so that would be Tuesday. Please refer to them for any questions.
Yep,
so the FBI received the surveillance video from us yesterday. So yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of have to read into that. I'm assuming they requested it that day and got it. I mean, it's the FBI. Obviously, the sheriff is going to immediately, respond.
And I'm just throwing this out there too. Could the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office have just been inundated with so many requests for that video that they just said, "Hey, we sent it to the FBI. The FBI has it now, and that's all we can do." I mean, could that have also been a scenario that's plausible here, within the realm of possible here, as far as the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office just saying, "Okay, listen, the FBI has this video, and please stop asking us questions about the video. The FBI has it, and it's part now of a federal investigation."
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's possible. And I was just reading the question again. I mean, I still wonder, I just go back to the reserve and this intense search there that won't end, and the amount of resources they're putting in. I mean, is there something that they know about the reserve? Is it possible that they did catch Brian Laundrie on a trail cam or on a surveillance camera there, later, way past this camping trip, that sort of makes the camping trip irrelevant? I mean, we don't know the answers to any of these questions, but it's interesting. You don't see the FBI or the police. I mean, I know you've got aerials up now,
yep,
and I know your chopper has been up over the campground. I mean, they're not out. The police aren't out searching the campground.
Yeah, we of course have been reporting about an independent investigation that has been going on, that Dog the Bounty Hunter and a team of former retired investigators that he has brought on as part of this search. And of course, there's the video that's been circulating on Twitter of the canine unit that's been going out there and searching, and that really hasn't turned up anything. And I would also too, just like while we're talking about Dog the Bounty Hunter here, we are very much aware of the comments and of the questions here regarding, of course, now the report that is out that he is seeking a new television show, and he's trying to, of course, get back into the spotlight as far as a new show, a new production. And of course, that's his right as an American. If you want to start your own television show, and there's a network that wants to, of course, provide you with the means to get that show out there, then that's, of course, what he can do. Is somebody who has a long history as far as being on TV. But to Brian's point here, and I agree with it completely, ever since he was on this case, there's been movement. There's been, are we talking about Fort DeSoto here? Are we talking about this area if it's not for Dog the Bounty Hunter and his team here, as far as, trying to find out what actually went on when Brian Laundrie returned home. So I just want to just point out that I completely agree with what Brian was talking about earlier as far as Dog the Bounty Hunter. But let's come back here to the facts. It's very important that we always circle back to the facts of this case. And I know that everyone out there wants to vilify Brian Laundrie. I know that there are a lot of people that additionally want to vilify Chris and Roberta Laundrie for being part of something. And let's just stay rooted in reality, stay rooted in fact. I think that's why people watch us, Brian, as far as and been following us on social media, is because we always come back to what we know and what we can report and what is fact. And that is that right now, Brian Laundrie is a missing person and the person of interest, the sole person of interest in Gabby Petito's homicide. It is an FBI-led criminal investigation, and Brian Laundrie is wanted, but he's wanted on a charge connected to, of course, credit card fraud, alleged credit card fraud, that Capital One debit card that we have been talking about. And at this time, there is no charge or public evidence that we know about connecting Brian Laundrie to Gabby Petito's homicide. And let's talk about Gabby here for a second. There's some questions that we'll bring up here in just a second. A lot of questions, people asking about when we might know more about the autopsy results of Gabby Petito. And I have no familiarity with that county, that Wyoming County medical examiner's office. I'm sure that few really do. And really, there's just no timeline, Brian, to when we're going to find out a cause of death or even a preliminary cause of death.
Yeah, from what I'm told, it's totally out of the hands of the coroner. It's a relatively small county in Wyoming. I talked to him last week. He was pretty open in the beginning, but the FBI just took over in terms of controlling when the autopsy results are released. So there's really no telling. I mean, it's going to be up to the FBI. Obviously, if there are things in that autopsy that they don't want to be made public because they think it could compromise the investigation, like the actual cause of death, like what actually caused Gabby to die. If they're thinking the person who killed Gabby is the only person who knows that, and us as the FBI, they're not going to release that information right now. So, I heard there were some rumblings, it might come out this week. I mean, I just don't think we know.
How about this question in from Nicole? Hi, got it. Hashtag hey JB, or no, hashtag News Nation, hashtag JB. Can the police tap into the phone to see if Brian and his parents have been in contact? This is an excellent question. Now, I believe, of course, that my understanding is that they can triangulate cell tower signals to find out where a phone is pinging. But whether or not they can tap into a phone to see who has been corresponding with that phone, that's not something I'm aware of. Are you, Brian?
No, and I mean, I'm sure they can. I mean, so a lot of these
like check phone records, right? The list of phone numbers.
A lot of these warrants are sealed. I mean, a lot of this stuff is sealed. You can see it in the court filing. I mean, so we don't know exactly what they're doing. I've talked to several former FBI agents who said, there's a lot of things that they can do to track what's happening right now. But again, like you said, we just don't know.
Let's get to another question coming in here. It's from Jenna Robinson. Back to YouTube here. Hello there, YouTube. Thanks for joining us. I got a great audience here on YouTube as well, in addition to WFLA.com, Facebook. From Jenna Robinson on YouTube, hashtag HJB. Couldn't the FBI know and search the campsites before getting the surveillance video? The FBI could have searched without having the surveillance video in their hands, right? And also, I said this yesterday, Brian, on stream. The FBI isn't going to arrive to a potential search area, wearing, a big, vest that says FBI across their chest or across their back. It's not like they're going to telegraph to the world that the FBI is coming onto the scene. It's going to be, of course, extremely discreet. We have seen it with other federal investigations. Now, of course, if the FBI is responding to a very active scene, yes, you're going to see certain vehicles or really certain emblems on the uniforms that, of course, federal investigators or federal agents are wearing. But they're not going to telegraph to the world that they're searching. So there could have been a search here at Fort DeSoto earlier this month when they originally started collecting evidence on this case, before Dog the Bounty Hunter was even involved. And that is a scenario that's possible. We just don't know because, of course, we've been saying over and over again, it is a FBI investigation.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot we don't know. I don't want to make it seem like we're questioning the FBI. I mean, we've both covered a gazillion stories that involve the FBI, and you never get any information barely. And this is just the way they operate. And I noticed at the press conference with the Petitos, just a few days ago, Mr. Petito was very clear that the lawyer was saying that they have full confidence in the FBI. I'm sure they're being updated on things that we don't know about this investigation, and they're probably keeping the parents in the loop on certain things. So, look, the FBI is the FBI. You can just hope that they're, doing a lot that we don't know about.
From Jessica Bolensky, staying with YouTube. Again, hello there to YouTube. Hashtag KJB, hashtag News Nation. Has law enforcement specified exactly when was the last time they saw Brian Laundrie at home? And the answer to this, again, we were just talking about this a moment ago, and this is a similar question to one we just answered, but we don't know when and where and if law enforcement had eyes ever on Brian Laundrie, and there's a good chance that over the month of September that they never did have eyes on Brian Laundrie. The plate was tagged. We know that the Guthries in that Fox News interview said they saw Brian at the house, but it's a big unknown right now as to whether or not they ever physically had eyes on Brian Laundrie here in the Northport and Sarasota County in that area.
Yeah, correct. I remember being at several of the press conferences. There was one with the chief in Northport where we asked the question, do you know where Brian Laundrie is? And he said, yes, I know where he is, but he wouldn't give us the information. And they said that for several days. But what that means, whether they were actually watching him or they were just taking the word of the parents, or we don't really know. And all of that will, I guess, come out when all of this, when all of this is figured out. But yeah.
Brian, I know you have a very busy day, so I'm just going to check with you here because it's my responsibility here to not interfere with, of course, the job that you're doing as far as having boots on the ground there in Sarasota County. So is another 10 minutes here taking some questions here? Is that fit in with your schedule?
Sure. Yeah, that's good.
All right, so we'll do another 10 or so minutes here, everybody, with News Nation's Brian Entin. The world is following News Nation's Brian Entin on Twitter. Every time I check, you just have another follower. It's I'm sure you've turned off push notifications for followers on Twitter, Brian, because it's just been a lot of attention that we've been receiving, of course, here on social media. But it speaks to just how many people have been following this story. Did you ever expect it to, just really quickly while we're talking about it, did you ever expect this story to reach the magnitude that it has?
Not really. I mean, I guess like you, this is what we do. I mean, I'm always tweeting anyway before this story. Like I'm just like a Twitter fiend. I mean, I'm like, I'm into my stories. So it's not like I started doing something different with this story. But I think like I've been watching a lot of your webcasts, like what you keep saying about, sticking to the facts. I think people appreciate that because there's so many people on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, just like throwing out theories, listening to the scanner. I mean, the scanner has been a massive thing with everybody on Twitter.
Thousands.
They're all listening to the scanner, and every little thing they hear, they're like, oh my God, they've just found Brian Laundrie. It happens like 3 times a day. And I'm like telling people on Twitter, look, like we all listen to the scanner, but you can't report scanner traffic. Like it's not confirmed. You hear a lot of things on the scanner. So anyway, what I was just trying to get to is, I think people appreciate the reporters out here just because we're sticking to the facts. I mean, if we're going to tweet it out or report it on News Nation or on WFLA, I mean, we've confirmed it. It's not just a rumor or something we heard on the scanner.
Yeah, we are not in the business of gossip or speculation, or we, of course, can be here on stream and address this. Social media has been raging with this story, and this is an opportunity with WFLA Now to what Brian was talking about, where we can address some of the speculation and gossip that's out there, and we can tell you whether or not it's anywhere close to reality. But there's so much misinformation out there that it's really important for us to, of course, stay focused on the facts. And that's our pledge. I know from talking to Brian a lot over the last couple of weeks. Brian, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, by the way. Getting to know Brian, and we are very much based in fact and based in reality here. And we'll continue to do that as we continue to monitor this story. But let's get to more of the questions because we only have a few more minutes, everybody, with News Nation's Brian Entin here. Jessica, thanks a lot for your comment here. Let's get to this one from Crime and Wine on Twitter. Hello, Crime and Wine. Hashtag News Nation, hashtag AJB, hashtag Brian Laundrie told Moab PD that he didn't have a cell phone. Do you know if the FBI has confirmed this? And Brian, again, just anything with the FBI, it's just going to be a big, we don't know.
Yeah, I think what Crime and Wine, it's a kind of a funny handle. What Crime and Wine is referring to is in the body camera video from Moab from August. He did in the beginning of the body camera video sort of allude to not having a phone, but then later it sounded like he did have a phone. So yeah, bottom line, we just don't know.
How about this one here from? Yeah, we were just talking about this, and some of these are in our queue from a moments ago. Tamala on Twitter, hashtag HAB, hashtag News Nation. When will we get the final cause of death from the coroner? Now, it's Brian. We've been talking here about you mentioned that it's really in the hands of the FBI, but you know what? A situation, a medical examination, an autopsy that is performed that is not in the hands of the FBI, what originally can happen is, and it depends on jurisdictions, of course, and it depends on medical examiners' offices, but there can be a preliminary cause of death revealed pending results like toxicology and other things that come forward, and then they can, of course, release the final autopsy results. Final cause of death, as far as when we're going to receive it, that could be way off as far as definitively determining and saying with 100% certainty what Gabby Petito died of.
Yeah, it could be. We just don't know. Again, it's going to be up to the FBI ultimately, depending on the investigation, when they feel comfortable releasing all of the details. You mentioned that toxicology can take quite some time. So, I mean, I'm not expecting we're going to get the full report, anytime soon.
Nor am I. Let's get to Shauna Simon, hashtag HeyJB. Do we know if Brian met his family at Fort DeSoto? Again, you're looking at Fort DeSoto here in the center of your screen. On September 1st, instead of coming straight to the parents' home. Now, we don't, but we do know that the family and Brian Laundrie had a fair degree of familiarity here with the Fort DeSoto campground. And there is a post on Instagram showing that Gabby was here at Fort DeSoto. And we can't show it, but we can reference it, that Gabby Petito was here at Fort DeSoto based on an Instagram post. So there's a familiarity here as far as the Laundrie family and as far as Brian Laundrie here. But to the question, Brian, from Shauna, do we know if he beelined it home from Wyoming in the van? We don't know if he stopped or met his parents at Fort DeSoto on September 1st, correct?
Yeah, we don't know. All we really know is what we got from Pinellas County in terms of that later camping trip where it showed that Roberta Laundrie checked in. That was on the campground log. And you mentioned, it is very interesting when you go through their Instagrams that Brian had been to this campground before and had also been to the reserve. He's got a photo from Carlton Reserve also. So these are places that they were familiar with.
Is somebody who really enjoyed being in the outdoors, and anybody that lives here in the Tampa Bay area, and Brian living of course in South Florida, knows that being outside, it can be hot. It can be really hot and unbearable at times, but we live in a beautiful part of the country, and experiencing the outdoors is a big part of the lifestyle down here in Florida, especially being out by the water. Leah Noblet, hashtag HeyJB. How long will the FBI continue to search the reserve? This is a big question. There are a lot of folks out there, Brian, that are pointing to taxpayer money being dedicated to the search at the massive 25,000-acre Carlton Reserve. And we don't know how long the FBI, but we do know that the search has been considerably scaled back. It looked like something out of, and I've been saying this, looked like something out of Saving Private Ryan. Like they were going out into this vast wilderness here and looking for any signs of Brian Laundrie. And it was like that for many, many days. And then all of a sudden they scaled it back, and it's been considerably smaller of an operation since. But we really don't know how long that's going to be a target for the FBI and for law enforcement.
Yeah, I think the way Northport PD put it was that it's now like a focused search when they get specific intelligence rather than this grid search that we saw in the beginning where they were just sort of like all over the place. But they are still out there. Look, there's something, there has to be something they know that is leading them to the reserve. And I would imagine it's more than just the Laundrie parents saying that he went on that hike, because the amount of resources is insane.
It is, and I've been thinking. We've been talking about the same thing here on stream. There's again the window, the window that you can't see through. That is the federal investigation here that the FBI is conducting. They have to have something there that leads them to believe that Brian Laundrie was or is or could be or there's signs of him being there at Carlton Reserve. Otherwise, why dedicate? Maybe listen. years from now, when more of this story is exposed and comes to light and more becomes available to the public, we might learn more about what that tangible piece of evidence or multiple pieces of evidence potentially were that led them to commit so many resources and we know to Carlton Reserve. And we know that there have been endless theories and gossip online that it's a misdirection, that it was very much intentional to get police to look in that spot, but we just don't know what federal investigators know. Let's take one or two more here. Marcy Reynolds, Truella, hashtag HAB. Wouldn't it help if the FBI gave the public a little bit of information so that we could help, just like the YouTubers who saw Gabby's van? Big shout out to Jennifer Bethune. If the public knew more, maybe we could help more. This is only a question that you would see in 2021, Brian. The public saying, we know that there's a federal investigation ongoing. We know that the FBI is combing through leads. We know that they have a job to do. But is there something they can release just a little bit that allows the public at large to help? And that's just not the MO. It's just not the MO of the FBI.
No, they're known to clamp everything down, not give interviews, give very limited press releases. If there's a point where they feel like they need the media, they'll definitely use us, I think, to put something out. But if that doesn't happen, where they don't feel like they need us, we're not going to get any new information out of the FBI for quite some time.
And Vince Sayurka, hashtag HAB. Grady Judd said today that if they were investigating this when Brian showed up with Gabby's car, he never would have let them go. We do have this coming up here on WFLA Now. And if you're unfamiliar with Grady Judd here, well, you can't be in Florida and not know who Grady Judd is, the Polk County Sheriff that's right nearby here in Central Florida, kind of halfway between Tampa and Orlando. And he's perhaps one of the most famous sheriffs in the country. And for the first time, he commented here on the Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie story here. We have that coming up here right after we say a farewell and a good luck and a best wishes to News Nation's Brian Enton. Brian, thanks so much for joining us and taking some time out of your day to answer some questions here. And where are you heading? What's your plan for today? And what are you going to be looking for as far as now the Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito story?
So we will be back at the house, waiting for any new developments today, watching everything closely. We'll be on News Nation tonight, starting at 5 o'clock Eastern and throughout the entire night. And we'll be on it. Great job, JB.
Yeah, no.
Everything with the coverage.
Right back to you, Brian. And Brian and I are aware of there's it's been just all over social media and all over our comment section. We are very well aware of the nicknames that have been associated with us. Brian knows exactly what I'm talking about. I know what we're talking about. We're not going to highlight any of those hashtags, but we very much appreciate some of the very, very fond social media followers that have found us here on the internet and have been following our reporting here on this story. So, Brian, thank you and best of luck out there today. I'll be following you from here at WFLA.
Okay, talk to you later, JB.
All right, thanks a whole lot, Brian. Everybody, Brian Nation, follow him, everybody, on News Nation. All right, so let's get to what we talked about here a short time ago. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd. Let me just set the stage here for you if you don't know who Grady Judd is. Grady Judd is somebody who, when he walks up to a podium, when he walks up to a microphone, it's instantaneous must see for a lot of folks online. He has a way with words, a way with articulating how he feels and how his department, how the Polk County Sheriff's Office feels about a particular story. He does not hold back any punches. This is somebody who speaks his mind. And if you've never heard of Grady Judd, believe me, there are endless clips and reels on YouTube that you can find, and it will give you an idea as to who Grady Judd is. And I'm saying that because normally I would never have to say that on WFLA Now because our audience is very honed in here on the Tampa Bay area, and Grady Judd is just, everybody knows who Grady Judd is. But outside of the Tampa Bay area, outside of Florida, we have an international audience. We've had people joining us from the UK. We have people joining us from Germany, from Norway, from Denmark, from Australia. All over the world have been joining us, and you probably don't know who Grady Judd is. But ever since this story began, and ever since Brian Laundrie was declared officially missing, everybody has been asking me, to talk to Grady, or asking our WFLA team to talk to Grady to get his 2 cents on what he thinks, because he doesn't hold back on what he thinks about modern day law enforcement and modern day crime. So here is a short time ago. Big shout out to Stacy Da Silva from, of course, our team here, WFLA 8 on your side, for helping me out with this. But this is Grady Judd at a press conference here talking about a separate operation that his office had conducted. Okay, but he, in a Q&A portion, of course, he was asked about the Gabby Petito and the Brian Laundrie story.
Gabby Petito, I'm not involved in that investigation. My team's not involved in that investigation. I could only speculate based upon news reports, and as you know, those are incomplete at best, and sometimes they can be fictionalized at worst. I can tell you that according to Florida law, when she was a victim of domestic violence originally, he would have been arrested. I can tell you at this sheriff's office, when he showed up with her car and she was no place to be found, we would never have let him out of our custody that day. Other than that, I'm not sure where their investigation is.
Interesting comments here from Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd, saying that if Brian had come back and had it been in his jurisdiction, he never would have let Brian get away. And he highlighted the domestic dispute that occurred between Brian Laundrie and between Gabby Petito. And Grady saying, and listen, there have been endless comments thrown my way on social media with #AJB saying, #AJB, Grady never would have allowed this to happen. But let's also keep things in perspective here, folks. This has been a complicated case.
How you guys doing? No, this is live. We're running it live. Just kind of leaving it out there. It's what's going on, you know. We're going to run it for another 10 or 15 minutes or so, and then I can shut it down. No worries.
From the beginning, very complicated. The FBI is on the case, and there is nobody out there that is more pro law enforcement, or I'll say as pro law enforcement than, of course, one of the many great sheriffs that we have here across Florida. That one, of course, that you just heard from is Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd. And we've had a lot of comments just come in the last several seconds about Grady Judd. #AJB Sheriff Grady Judd is great. Every county needs one of him. I'm from North Carolina and wish we had him here. Yeah, his signature saying, if you've never heard it, is, did you hear what I said? And Grady, if this story had occurred in Polk.
You are right. This is previously recorded. Let's see. Dog's got anything shaking. Let's check out. That does appear to be the can. Upon further review. Good catch. I would almost say that's a dead ringer. Except for, it's a very, very comparable look. That's for sure. We'll take those two. That was FBI at the house. She repenned that. That's an awesome picture. So let's go back over here, I guess. know that there's two. Tampa's not live.
Really a pattern here with Dog, the bounty hunter, as far as his team participating in their own independent investigation, their own independent search for Brian Laundrie. And it's that we're seeing a lot of activity later in the day. We haven't really heard much from Dog in the mornings. It's usually later in the day, late afternoon, evenings, and even nights, where you'll see a lot of stuff get posted on social media, and that's kind of been the routine here. But there have been a lot of people too, and we understand that there's now, as Dog continues here to post updates, that there is folks on social media saying that, you know, questioning the authenticity of his motives, and we understand that. And
it really seems like JB really hammer times on Dog a lot. I'm not really sure what that's all about. It's damn near to a troll level now, wouldn't you say? Oh boy. He's mean. Shit. So not a lot shaking right now. Pinellas, they're headed on back. They made their way on and down around DeSoto, and then out over here over 275 for a bit, then around the Horn, and then back across. So doesn't really seem to be. We got a plane here making some loops. We'll check him out for a minute. That's a private owner. Just kind of keeping a look at all the air. The air traffic is going to kind of tell you, in my opinion, the air traffic is going to tell you where it's going down. So you can learn a lot by, like Brian said, it's not what you can see necessarily, it's the things that you can't see too. Is, you know, you have to take all things into account. And I really like the way that Brian thinks. He's you know, pretty multifaceted guy. So but you can see there just hasn't been a lot of Christensen aviation. Just hasn't been a lot of activity, other than there was a at the very beginning of this stream, there was a Coast Guard aircraft that was making lots of swoops here. I mean, this whole thing was just, you could see it from way out. So kind of interested in what. And see, the thing that you can't see unless you zoom way in is, look, there's all sorts of little islands all around this whole area. So there's a lot to cover, and I believe, you know, as many people have said, that it's an unforgiving territory. It really is. So, straight shot. Just curious to see who's moving around.
FBI has to, of course, keep their guard up in the event that Brian Laundrie does have access to the internet.
The FBI was holding. That's what somebody just put in chat. So I'm still trying to see if I can find the footage from the.
Same thing. Well, guess that's about it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and, I guess, try to catch me a little nap since Junior's down. Although, wow, I didn't even see that little tiny island right there, guys. Holy cow, look at that. Jeez, little Pete's. I mean, it is just a ton of stuff all over out here. Some of them you just can't see. You know, not from this animated look, but down here in Shell Key, there's a lot of stuff going on. All right. I mean, there's little islands that don't even have names. So, I guess, guys, check the news one more time.
Bree's lawyer regarding dog and the campsite was legit. It wasn't necessarily sent. I think you're talking
Previously recorded. Well, so guys, I'm going to wrap it up for a while. I will catch you here in, I don't know, a few hours or something. Maybe so, Will. Maybe it's, you know, spit or who knows, you know. Maybe they gave him a COVID test. I don't know. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Peace. Love you guys.